Think about your life like a series of group photos. At school, you're in the classroom, standing just off to the side while friend groups form around shared jokes and sports teams. At work, you're in the group chat and the meetings, but the real bonding seems to happen without you. At family gatherings, you're at the table, laughing politely, but there's always this thin layer of glass between you and everyone else. You're invited. You're included. But you rarely feel that deep, effortless click of "these are my people." You can float between circles, talk to lots of different kinds of people, but nowhere ever really feels like home base. And in quiet moments you ask yourself, why have I never truly fit into any group? What does that say about me? If that question has followed you for years, what I'm about to tell you about your wiring is something most people like you never get to hear, and it might change how you look at your outsider role for the rest of your life. At some point, people start giving your outsider feeling a label. You're too quiet, you're too intense, you're picky, you're weird maybe. You've been told you overthink everything or don't know how to just join in. You watch other people melt into tight friend groups over parties, gossip, sports, drama, things you either don't care about or can't fake caring about. A small voice inside whispers, maybe I'm the defective one. You scan yourself for answers. Is it how I look? How I talk? Something about my past? Why does everyone else seem to find a tribe while I'm always orbiting on the edge? On the outside, it can look like you're the one who won't connect. On the inside, it often feels like you see too much. Feel too much or simply don't fit the template they're all agreeing to follow. Most people like you stop here and decide they're the problem. But there's a deeper story behind why you've never fully fused with any group, and it has a lot more to do with quiet strengths than with defects. What most people never tell you is that never quite fitting in can be a sign of something other than failure. Psychology and sociology both suggest that people who don't fully fuse with any group often develop a stronger individual identity and a sharper inner compass. When you're not swallowed by one tribe's beliefs or rituals, you stay more independent. You notice things. You question things. You become the person who can see the group clearly, not just blindly move with it. You're what we might call an edge walker, close enough to understand how groups work, but just far enough outside to keep thinking for yourself. The same trait that made you feel out of place at school or in friend circles is often the one that protects you from groupthink, peer pressure, and shallow versions of belonging. In the next part, we'll break down the specific psychological traits that sit behind this edgewalker role. Your need for authenticity, your pattern-spotting mind, and your built-in self-protection, and once you see them, your whole social history may start to look very different. Let's unpack what's actually behind this edgewalker wiring. First, there's high authenticity. Some people can bend themselves to fit whatever group they're in, pretend to love the same music, laugh at jokes they don't find funny, join in gossip just to stay included. Your system doesn't tolerate that very well. When you fake it, it feels like a tiny act of self-betrayal. So instead of reshaping yourself to match the room, you hang back a little. You'd rather feel slightly separate than completely unreal. Second, there's your observer mind. Because you're not fully absorbed in any one circle, you naturally slip into the role of watcher. You notice who talks over everyone, who shrinks, who gets ignored, when the energy turns fake or mean. But you're not just quiet, you're running a silent analysis in the background. That pattern awareness can make you insightful, creative, even strategic. But it also means you can't just turn your brain off and vibe the way some people seem to. Third, there's protective distance. If you've ever been excluded, mocked, or blindsided by people you tried to belong with, your nervous system learns. It keeps a tiny gap between you and every group of built-in trust threshold. You can join, but a part of you is always holding the door open in case you need to leave fast. Most people only see the loneliness in this. They don't see the authenticity, the awareness, and the protection your mind has been quietly building from the edge. The real question now is, has that edge become a place of freedom for you, or a place of isolation you don't know how to step out of? This is where your edge gets complicated. On one side, not fully belonging anywhere has given you real freedom. You're less controlled by group rules, less likely to stay in toxic circles just because, more able to walk away when something feels wrong. You've kept parts of yourself that other people sacrifice just to fit in. On the other side, that same distance can quietly harden into isolation. Start saying no one gets me, so often that you stop letting anyone try. You assume every group will eventually turn on you, so you never show them who you really are in the first place. From the outside, both look the same. You on the edge. Inside, one has chosen independence, the other is exhausted self-protection. Noticing which one feels more like you right now is the first crack of light in this whole story. When you put it all together, your story stops being "I'm the one who never fits" and starts looking more like this. You're someone with a strong inner compass, sensitive radar for group dynamics, and a nervous system that refuses to disappear into the crowd just to feel normal. You're wired for depth over blind belonging, for seeing patterns others miss, for walking the edge between worlds instead of being trapped in just one of them. That edgewalker role has cost you comfort, but it's also given you something rare. The ability to stay yourself when everyone else is busy matching each other. So maybe the question isn't, how do I finally become like everyone else? Maybe it's, how do I build a life that makes sense for an edgewalker? That might mean smaller, truer circles. 1 or 2 real friends instead of a whole squad. Spaces where your way of seeing is an asset, not a problem to fix. If this felt like someone just described your whole social life out loud, you're not alone and you're not defective. Subscribe and stay close if you want more videos that speak to minds like yours without shaming them. And tell me in the comments how your outsider role has actually shaped you.